Hi everyone, welcome back. It's my YK Swedish Whiskey Girl, and today we're here with another Jura. And this here is the Jura Winter Edition. It is a whiskey that sits at 4% ABV, of course from the Jura distillery, and it's been finished in Spanish sherry casks. And I think Jura is quite an interesting one, especially at tastings and when you chat to other people that like whiskey, because it seems to be one of those whiskies that people either love or they don't love. And I have a theory about why that is. I think they have this kind of earthy aroma, which makes them quite unique, which I think if you like, then that suits you perfectly. But if you don't like it, then Jura isn't really for you. But it's, of course, located on a stunning island. I really want to go to Jura. The photos look amazing. And I mean, they have one road. That sounds incredible. Just want to get away from everything and just stay on Jura for a few days. So hopefully one day we'll be able to go. But yeah, for now we're going to have a look at the whiskey. And of course, thanks to White & Mackay for sending this over. I haven't tried this specific whiskey before, so we'll be very curious to try it. So let's start by having a look on the nose. It's the first thing I'm getting is that Jura earthiness. I would say it's like a little bit like wet autumn leaves, a little bit moss, a little bit like when you're hiking and stepping over like tree roots and the ground is slightly damp, that kind of wet earthiness. There's also other things that initially feel very inviting. Almost like coffee, I would say. Coffee and apple pie, perhaps? It's a very interesting character, and I would say a very light purple, if we're going to talk colours and flavours or aromas. A delicious nose, I'd have to say. This is definitely a whiskey that I would think suits autumn and would suit my palate. I really hope now that I've said that this isn't one of those whiskies that really gives you a lot on the nose and then under-delivers on the palate, but I guess we'll see in a moment. But it's quite an interesting nose, so I'm going to sit with it a little bit longer. Almost a bit also like cloves and oranges. Like I still don't know if this is a thing that happens in Scotland or in England or anywhere else in the world as well, but in Sweden around Christmas time you take a red ribbon and then you tie it around an orange and then you put little cloves in the orange and it smells wonderful. It's a little bit like that, but I would say the aromas are very velvety. They just kind of glide. And it's, yeah, wonderful. A hint of kind of foam banana as well. Foam banana, autumn earthiness, wet leaves, coffee and apple pie. Yeah, coffee in a way that's like a cinnamon latte. Well, let's have a taste. Sláinte. I feel like this is a similar experience to what I had with the red wine cask that I tried earlier on this summer. I think it's nice. I think it has similar aromas to those on the nose. And I don't think they under-deliver. They're slightly more robust on the palate. And the spices are more there. But it still reminds me of like a cinnamon latte, like a little bit of that coffee influence. Of course in the latte, because you have so much milk, the coffee flavour isn't like if you were to have an espresso. But yeah, a little bit toned back. It's still quite fresh, and then cinnamon coming in. And maybe that little bit like creaminess or like milkiness that mixes it out. There's definitely a little bit of banana there as well. I would say it's more coffee-esque on the palate than that kind of apple pie note. But it still underneath has this kind of wet earthiness that also is probably a little bit more vegetal on the palate because you have a bitterness going alongside it. I think it's the spices that makes it feel more robust, for sure. But in the middle of the spices you have a bit of a woodiness, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily a lot of wood influence. And I also wouldn't say it's a lot of ex-sherry influence. It's because sometimes with a sherry cask matured whiskey or a finished whiskey, you definitely get those sherry influenced aromas. This is almost like it would be a mixture between maybe like ex-sherry and ex-wine, because it has a very unique character that isn't typically wine and it isn't typically sherry. I would probably almost guess this whiskey was more ex-red wine because of its aromas. Interesting. And I think before the finishing time it's been matured in American white oak. So I think White & Mackay is a really interesting company because they do think, and I know some people don't like what they're doing because they don't use a lot of natural colour or non-chill filtration. But flavour wise, I think they're very interesting because they do this with their whiskies. On the label you have one thing, but somehow they manage to kind of round them out and make something that in my mind is, I expect to be something else, and then it's different and it's quite smooth and it's quite refined in a way, is how I would probably describe it, which makes them a really interesting company. And they have quite a wide variety of their distilleries, which, yeah, it's quite fascinating, I think. I am enjoying this. Is this my... Because of course, I've started a thing on my blog, which I need to remember to do. But I am gonna announce the Whiskey of the Month for me, because I do get such a wonderful opportunity to try lots of different whiskies. So every month I'm gonna have Moa's Whiskey of the Month. So if you're curious about that, check that out. And yeah, this might be a strong candidate for October. But I mean, it's just the beginning of the month, so we'll have to see. Definitely more vegetal on the palate, but I don't mind it. I think it's quite pleasant. Oh, and of course, this retails at £45 for a litre bottle in Tesco's, I believe. And I would love to hear your thoughts if you've tried it. I heard a few of you have already. You told me on my Instagram, but yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What's your favourite Jura? Do you like this winter edition? Have you perhaps tried the red wine one, which I was quite keen on? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And of course, if you like what I'm doing here on YouTube and my other social channels, I'd be absolutely over the moon if you consider using my affiliate links the next time you're shopping with either Master Malt, the Whisky Exchange, or the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. All the information is in the description here below, as well as links to my Teespring shop, my website, my Instagram, and my Patreon if you're curious about that. As always, a massive thank you to my wonderful supporters on Patreon. You guys are amazing, and I'm so grateful you want to continue to support me on my whiskey journey. I hope you've all had an absolutely wonderful day. Sláinte Skål.